45 power blast. Bonjour, je m'appelle Operation pour. Bienvenue à la montagne. Aujourd'hui, we will be talking about handguns for warfare, and specifically in my first video, which I believe is actually private now because the production quality wasn't exactly, we'll say, perfected. A little bit better circumstances now. We'll see if I was wrong or if my opinions have changed. Now, I have been going back over my first videos. I have actually been going over my first videos that I put out, and I'm kind of revamping them. But also, it's been a process of just, if my opinions ever change, I will do a video updating my thoughts. So I just wanted to update my thoughts here, see if they did change. Essentially, I came to the conclusion that a 9mm Glock, this is a Glock 19 right here, a Glock handgun and 9mm is the best option. Best option for what? Operation 4, concealed carry? No, this has nothing to do with concealed carry. My channel is not about concealed carry or what you would typically face in a self-defense scenario. My thoughts on concealed carry is that frog's got me all jacked up. My thoughts on concealed carry is carry what makes you happy and what's comfortable. Just make sure you actually carry. I wouldn't recommend a 22. You know my thoughts on 22 LR, but in a mano a mano fight, un in French essentially, you're just gonna, it doesn't matter. You can use a 40, a 45, some odd like Walther handgun. It doesn't matter. But what we talk about on this channel, oh my gosh, bro. I'm getting one ready. I'm getting one at the ready. So concealed carry, it doesn't matter what you carry. I actually carry, or used to carry, a hammerless, or no, I had a hammer. It was a stub-nose revolver, and I just put it in my pocket. Because unless you live in a big city with a high crime rate, you know, if you're just going up against one or two goons, 5 to 6 shots is sufficient. Now, I know I probably pissed a lot of people off, but we're talking about concealed carry. We're not talking about you're going to war. We're talking about concealed carry right then. Not talking about going to war. So for warfare, essentially, what you want, and by warfare I mean foreign invaders, Russia, China, hypothetical scenario invades the U.S. What would you want? You want a 9mm Glock because it is the most common. 9mm is the most common cartridge in America, but also the Glock handgun and its 9mm models. Specifically the Glock 19 and the Glock 17 and all the clones, so the Gen 3 Glock clones like the PSA Dagger and the Bear Creek, I think it's called Claw or something. Those are the most popular handguns in the United States. So for warfare, that is what you would want to use in event of foreign invasion or something like that. My thoughts have not changed. Also, I want to hit off, a handgun has every disadvantage to a rifle and no advantage whatsoever besides concealability. And in warfare, you're going to be treated like a threat anyways. Concealability does not matter. Just saying. There's very niche scenarios where it might matter, but typically, if you're going and you're on the battlefield, you're going to have it in an open holster on your hip, like this 1911 right here. This is also where I want to hit off that even though I recommend a Glock to have, just in case it kicked off, I personally prefer a 1911. 1911 or a Beretta 92 FS, or just 92, any of the 92 models. Those are my favorite handguns. That's what I trained on in the Army, was a Beretta 92. I actually got to do a little bit with it through the military, and I like the double action, single action. I do. I like the decocking mechanism. Beretta 92 is one of my favorite handguns. It's probably right behind a 1911, which is what I got on my hip. I love the 45 ACP cartridge. I believe in the stopping power and stuff. You could say it's FUD lore, but it does. It has better ballistics and everything than a 9mm. Yes, 9mm came a long way, but so has every other cartridge. The same advances that are made in 9mm, powder-wise, ballistic-wise, are also made with all the other cartridges because they're all produced by the same company or same companies. So hopefully that makes sense. But a 9mm Glock is the option. Glock mags are the most common. 9mm is a NATO cartridge. End of story. If you, any kind of weapon, whether it's a rifle or a pistol or shotgun, whatever, you want to make sure it's a NATO cartridge. So shotgun, 12 gauge. Handgun, 9mm only. Rifle, 5.56 or 7.62 by 51mm. Russian invasion, 7.62 by 39. So pretty much it limits your options to AK-47, AK platforms, AR-15s, and AR-10s. You could probably get by with using a FAL, a FAL, or a Mini 14, something in 308, but that is literally your only options. If anybody ever tells you anything else, they have no idea what they're talking about. Do not listen to them. You want something that's going to be plentiful on the battlefield. Because you see all these mags, I got 6 mags of 5.56 filled to the brim right here, and then plus 1 in my rifle that's right behind the camera. Here's the thing, in an actual gunfight, if I got in a gunfight with just 2 or 3 individuals, if you include all the suppressive fire I would have to do to move and conceal myself and cover myself while I move, this would last me about 2 to 3 minutes, straight up. If I took contact from anywhere from 100 meters and out, this would last me about 2 to 3 minutes of actually gunfighting. And then hopefully I hit them, and if not, then I'm dead. I mean, it's tragic, but that is just how it is, guys. It's tragic, but that's just how it is. I mean, really, you have to be realistic. There is a significant ammo expenditure in actual firefights. A lot of blind firing, a lot of covering fire, because covering fire, as we've seen before and multiple times, covering fire is movement, is peace of mind, is everything. It is life, it is breath, essentially. The more rounds downrange, keep the enemy's head down, the better it is. So having a NATO cartridge or something that is plentiful on the battlefield is essential. And obviously, if there's tanks in the streets, you're probably not going to be able to go to your local gun shop or Walmart and pick up a box of 243. I have a 243 and I love it, but this is just going on odd calibers that I personally love. 243. I'm not going to go to Walmart and get some 243 if there's tanks in the street. I'm not going to go and get, let's see, I actually like 40 cal pretty good, and I like 45 ACP. I'm not going to lie. Like I said, I love the 1911, but I'm not going to rely on the availability of 45 ACP. I'm just saying, even if you have a stockpile of 1,000 rounds, which is a good start, it's vital, it's critical that you have a NATO cartridge for going to war. It's that simple. I don't know how to make it any simpler for the masses. And you gotta, as a creator, I have to generalize everything. There's very niche scenarios where a caliber might be better, this might be better, or whatever. But as a generalization, which is what I have to do with the facts and statistics and what I base my factual opinions on, I can only recommend 9mm Glocks as a go-to-war. They're dependable, they're proven, tons of militaries use them. It doesn't get any simpler than that. That is the option. Now, what was I saying before about, besides concealability, having a plus, there is no plus to having a handgun over a rifle? Well, the simple fact is, compare 5.56 AR-15 to 9mm. You're losing stopping power, velocity, range. You're losing everything. A handgun is a sidearm in war. It is to do a job or to be a backup. It's to do a very specific job, like thawing out of tanks and stuff, or when you are out working and building shelter, working on the fob, or you're doing something where having a rifle slung is just going to slow you down. You're going to have a handgun on your hip, and that is solely for a backup to get to your rifle. Your rifle is your lifeline. I'm going to say that again. Your rifle is your lifeline in war. Do not rely on your sidearm. That is like a backup of a backup. Think of it like that. It's the first backup, but just think of it like your last resort. Okay? Whether it's a 1911, a Glock, heck, even a Uzi, that is your backup. There's not enough advantages to run that and solely that. Now, akin to that, if you are going to run one, I'd probably attach a red dot and a weapon light. This is not the 1960s anymore. This is modern day. You can hit a target with a RMR red dot at 50 yards fairly consistently with a red dot. Try doing that with iron sights. How do I know that? Because I can do that with a handgun. I can shoot 8-inch plates at 25 yards with my 1911. You've seen me do that before in a lot of my shooting videos. Fairly consistently. More times, I'd say at least with 70% accuracy. More times often than not, I can shoot an 8-inch steel plate at 25 yards with iron sights on my 1911. However, if I had like the new upgraded 2011 models or a red dot on my 1911, I guarantee that 70% accuracy would go up to 95% because it makes it so much easier. I have a video about it, but essentially 2 points of aim versus 1 point of aim. You put the dot on target and pull the trigger. You don't have to think. You put dot on target, pull the trigger. You don't have to line anything up, worry about up and down, left and right. You put the dot on target, pull the trigger. Even if you're looking over here and the dot's on target and it's askew, as long as there's no parallax, like I'm cockeyed and this, but the dot's on target, I'm going to hit that target. I like iron sights. I like the classic feel, but like, guys, if we're talking about your life here, or your buddy's life, your battle buddy's life, we can't play around. You want every advantage on your handgun. You could probably, with your rifle, make an argument for iron sights and a basic red dot or something. You ain't got to have thermal, whatever. I get that. You can make an argument for your rifle, but your sidearm needs to be upgraded to the max capability. And then if you really don't want a red dot, that's all right, but at least have a light on it. Light and or light laser. It's that simple. But that is my opinions on handguns for warfare. I know, felt like I was preaching, but I am. I make these videos to save your life one day. If you get mad at what I'm telling you, then you're probably just ignorant. I'm just saying. But like, comment, subscribe. I only put out factual stuff I've studied. God bless y'all. If you don't know Jesus, he knows you. He is the way, the truth, and the life, and he is your Lord and Savior, whether you've accepted him yet or not. That's just how it is. So if you have any more questions, ask your local priest. God bless y'all. Au revoir. A bientôt. Peace.